Over the past several months, at least 4 coaches in the Metro have faced charges of inappropriate relationships with students and athletes.
In the wake of those cases, the 41I team wanted to know what rules the governing bodies of high school sports and activities in Missouri and Kansas have regarding those behaviors. 41I team reporter KNUTE discovered Missouri's governing body is not a mandatory reporter, meaning it doesn't have to call police about allegations of abuse. And because of our investigation, a lawmaker is now calling for action.
When it comes to high school activities, the Missouri High School Activities Association, or MSHSAA, oversees it all, from basketball to debate. But when it comes to rules about relationships between coaches and players, MSHSAA's boundaries appear to be non-existent. Now a Liberty family is left wondering if the agency dropped the ball in their daughter's case. For as long as she can remember, EMILYN Richardson has loved basketball.
There we go. I think I started playing when I was like 4, I would say. I think that's the first time I picked up a basketball.
As she grew older, she continued to play competitively, including as a starter for the Liberty High School basketball team for a coach she and her teammates adored.
We had a good relationship with him. He was, a great coach, very successful.
Which is why the family never thought twice about letting her babysit for him. But then, one night at his home, EMILYN says her coach crossed the line. She says he sat uncomfortably close to her on the couch, attempting to put his arm around her.
So then I finally did scoot over, and he ended up scooting closer to me and then was trying to touch me, but I just wasn't letting it happen.
As she drove home, her coach texted her, telling her she needed to come back, even suggesting she lied to her mother using the excuse of a forgotten phone charger as a reason to return. He also sent her a picture via Snapchat of himself lying in bed, telling her next time she should stay longer. Upset and confused, EMILYN notified the school, who contacted her parents.
We loved him.
Right.
We were shocked, we were angry, mad.
The family contacted MSHSAA but says they did nothing. They also filed a police report because he was never charged. KSHB 41 is not naming the coach. However, even without charges, the family says they were led to believe he'd be held accountable by the school.
What I took of it was he was being fired and he wasn't even going to be able to coach anymore.
However, according to the separation agreement KSHB 41 obtained, the coach agreed to resign and promised he wouldn't teach or coach again. But the family feared a promise wouldn't be enough to stop him in the future, especially since he didn't lose his teaching license. Although that's no longer a concern after he passed away just this past month, the family still wants to see MSHSAA do more to protect students.
There's got to be somebody who's over everything to make sure that our kids are protected.
The Richardsons say, if nothing else, as the governing body, MSHSAA should take a stronger stance in protecting kids. We reached out to MSHSAA, and they agreed to sit down with us to explain why they don't have any rules regarding relationships between coaches and players.
And the biggest reason for that is because it's already covered under the teacher's contract.
That MSHSAA representative also confirmed they're not mandatory reporters and said making these changes isn't a priority for member schools because they already handle issues themselves at the local level.
If we do receive a report like that from a parent or a concerned citizen, our first move is to contact the school.
We wanted to see how MSHSAA compares to the rest of the country, so we reached out to all of the high school activity associations nationwide. Of those, only 26 responded, and of those, only 3 prohibit inappropriate relationships between coaches and their players. Those are Kansas, Nevada, and Ohio. Only 4 are mandatory reporters: Nevada, Kentucky, New Jersey, and North Carolina.
Although it seems policies for governing bodies aren't the norm, Ray County Sheriff Scott Childers says they should be.
It makes no sense to me why. When I found out they weren't, my mind was blown.
Childers adds these types of incidents happen more often than many realize.
When something like this happens, a school district is supposed to report it to law enforcement. However, I can tell you that doesn't always happen.
He adds requiring MSHSAA to be a mandatory reporter and having them prohibit this type of behavior could give him and other law enforcement agencies more teeth when it comes to investigating and making arrests for these crimes. State Representative Doug Ritchie agrees.
If you have a concern about a coach and you're thinking, who am I going to call about this issue? I can call the athletic director. Wait, but they're friends. Parents have to be confident that the person that they're calling is actually going to make the right call.
Since the I-Team brought this issue to his attention, Representative Ritchie has already started working on pre-filing a bill to make Misha a mandatory reporter.
Shame on you for not putting this policy in place, and if you're not going to do it, then I will work to get it done.
And while it's too late for Emilyn's case, she and her family still wanted to share their story.
So hopefully changes will come out of this.
As for EMILYN, she admits she dealt with depression,
We'll try a 3.
causing her to switch schools and play for a different team her senior year. Although she says it was basketball that led to that painful experience, it was her love of the game that ultimately helped her heal.
I knew basketball was my happy place, and I knew that would be the only thing that got me out of it.
For the I-Team, Caitlin KNUTE, KSHB 41 News.
There we go.
What an important story. To be clear, Liberty High School officials did contact police in this case. However, Liberty Police told the I-Team that while the coach's behavior appeared suspicious, the information we had in the report did not fulfill the elements of a crime. After the KSHB 41 I-Team reached out to the Kansas State High School Activities Association, it confirmed it is not a mandatory reporter, but it is open to making changes to keep student athletes safe.